Hello and welcome to the dev stream. Long time no stream. It's been a minute. I got bronchitis and talking made me cough for like a really long time. But I'm doing better now, so I'm gonna try to get back on the horse. And today we've got this super cool cloud concept, which is at the top of a beanstalk that the player can grow. So we're going to be working that out, sort of a bit of a technical thing to get the cloud animated. We want the cloud to sort of be evolving. I think it'll just look really weird if it's static. But first we have some collision to do. So I'm going to open up Unity here. Probably should have opened it first. That would have been real clever. We've got this collision I've been working on. Very gnarly collision. I think we're almost done with it here, but I need to test it. So, wow. Got to re-import some stuff. Raul says, oh, share the screen. Oh my God, am I not, is my screen not working? Okay. That is really embarrassing. Let's see here. Why is my screen not working? Display capture. I have to BRB. 1 second. Oh, I can't BRB because then it won't show my... Okay, it says... What the heck? Oh. Okay, for whatever reason just flipping back and forth seemed to fix it. I don't know what that was about. Hopefully you guys can see my screen now. Alright, rock on. H2O, hello, hello. Okay, thanks for checking out our YouTube video. Thank you for the kind words, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you. Very kind of you to drop in the stream and say that. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna open up our dark forest. Let me just pop into the dark forest and see what we have so far. So I'm opening the prefab here. It should be open now. Okay, so I've got this disgusting looking collision and I'm just gonna try to run over it and see how it's going so far. I would really love this collision to not... I want it to like... Because if players walk on this, they're not even going to be able to walk into the water, which I don't really want. So I'm going to have to modify that collision a little bit. So this hole right here is a problem. So let's go into Blender. Here we go. I'll just go ahead and give this change list a name. Small collision hell. I don't know why this is being checked in. That seems sketchy. Why is the manifest being checked in? Oh boy. Let me open up our Dark Forest terrain blend file. So for anyone new to the stream, let's see, we have some new viewers. I'm working on collision for the swamp, there's all these this raisable earth spell you can walk over. You can see all these cracks in the ground. And I need the collision to sort of uneven terrain, and I just need one piece of mesh to go over all of it to make sure the player can actually traverse it. It looks like this needs to come out a little bit, and definitely this needs to go out. So I'm just going to save that and export, pop back into Unity. There we go, that should be good. And I think everywhere else is okay, but we'll need to test it. That is probably not good. Let's go over to this part, and I'm just going to move out that vert to make sure there's no hole there, or at least less of a hole there. Looks like we need to go one vert back. Okay, I hope that's all right. And then I'm going to click on our two walls here. I'm going to turn off the mesh render. I just have a mesh render on it so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then I want this ramp, if I can, just to make it a little bit more extreme and to bring it in. So I'm going to make the grade more extreme just by pushing these verts in. And then I'm going to try to bring in, this is a little bit janky because players might clip through that. I'll see how much tolerance we have for that. But I do want players to actually be able to touch the water with their feet COs here. I'm gonna pull it back even more and pull this one back. Might have to pull this back. That looks pretty extreme. I have to imagine that players will clip through that, but I just want to see how it looks first. I still don't think the players will touch the water. Okay, well anyhow, let's go ahead and put a mesh collider on this, like they're supposed to be. And the material, I'll just say is gravel, not gravel, rock. Dirt, I guess. I'll go ahead and turn the mesh render off. Gosh, it looks like we could afford to make it a little more extreme. Okay, let's try that. I'm gonna go ahead and save it now. We've got another, oh, geez, I think I've been working on the wrong one. Yeah, I have. Wow, that's embarrassing. Okay, there's two of them. Let me move these out again, just a little bit. I actually don't care too much about this one. I thought that we were working on a different part here. So let me just move these out again. Woo, woo. Okay. H2O says, how does your work get protected whilst you are streaming? Is there cover for you to, per se, if someone tries to replicate? No, basically there's no protection. I mean, I don't really know what someone would, there's not really much to steal. I mean, I've got, you know, just working on stuff, and people are free to copy if they want. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the mesh render. So that we can't see those walls, and now hopefully we should be able to finally to test it. So I'm going to back out of this prefab, and then we'll grab our player. I'm going to put the player down by the beach as a starting position, and then I'm going to pop into game mode. Raul asks, why are you using old Unity and Blender version? I'm using an old Unity version because when we start development, we don't typically update unless we absolutely have to. We actually will have to update before the end for console support reasons, but while we're in development, we just like to stay on the same version. That's pretty typical of most developments. Usually don't try to chase Unity versions in the middle of development. And Blender, the reason I'm using a really old version of Blender is because I wrote an exporter for it, and I really don't want to rewrite the exporter. So I just stay with the same version of Blender. If I could stay with the same version of Blender forever, I probably would. There's absolutely nothing I need. I don't feel there's anything lacking in this version of Blender, It's absolutely perfect. I would take this version to my grave. I can't think of anything else I'd want. But probably on our next project I will have to upgrade just because we'll probably hire other artists and they'll probably want to use the new version of Blender. So I'll have to rewrite the exporter for the new version. Okay, so let's test this collision. But currently I'm the only one who works in a 3D application on this project. So here's the raised earth. Okay, so I can't get onto it. It's like sticky right here. So we'll have to address that. Her feet don't clip through, so that's great. Okay. So far so good. I'm liking the collision. Walking over it is easy. Okay, and that's good. I like that she makes little water steps. This is the really janky one. So hopefully this one works okay. Great. That's great. She walks right up it, no issues. This is a little weird how she's like walking on gravel right here, but honestly I'd rather have that than try to have really tight collision, because if I had really tight collision she might just like get stuck on it, and I think getting stuck is worse than being able to walk on it, like kind of in weird floaty places. It's alright with me. I don't know why we're still getting water ripples when she walks, but it's not really the end of the world. Okay, so this is really strange that I can walk all the way out here. That probably should be addressed. We might just have to adjust the wall that stops us from walking further. That should be no problem. Okay, next one. Thanks, Mint. Okay, cool. So that's feeling really good. This is the really bad one right here. Yes. So she just walks right over it, which is awesome. She does get stuck a little right here, but it's completely reasonable because there's a giant tree right there, so I think people will understand why they're getting stuck. And you can only follow that tree so far up, so that's good. This is also a really bad one, and she just glides right over it. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm gonna make sure that you can go back up the other way. That looks great. No issues there. This is completely bizarre, how she can walk all the way out here. I might have to suck in that collision a little bit. But one thing I find is that people tend to not try to walk places that they don't feel like they shouldn't. Sorry, that they feel like they should not be able to, so it's kind of not too bad. Okay, that's great. That is really good. That went better than I expected. So I'm really pleased with that. The only problem is right here at the beginning. That's the only problem. So let's try to address that. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate that. And thanks, Raul. Glad you guys dig it. Oh, Mint asked earlier, how difficult was it to start making this game? Um, it was a little bit difficult at the beginning because we have a really bizarre art pipeline. We have this pretty interesting mix of illustration and 3D modeling. So we kind of had to sort that out and figure out what works best. But it was really fun. Also some really interesting design things in this game, like the way that time is handled, I think is pretty novel. How we have a day clock and you go to bed every night, but time freezes during events. So it's just kind of a really new sort of mechanic that I haven't seen in a farming sim. So we kind of had to come up with that because what we had before was not good. Where you had to like go to events, and if you didn't go to the event, then you were kind of teleported to the event and reprimanded, and it just didn't work very well. But we were all already very experienced game developers when we started this, so that definitely helps things. Hey Zons, welcome back, welcome back. I think the game is going pretty good, pretty good. Everything is moving along a little bit slowly, but still moving along, and everyone's pulling in the same direction. Hey, Daniil. Pardon me if I mispronounced your name. He's asking when the game is going to be released. We have not announced a release date yet, but we're just kind of toiling away here, and it'll be done when it's done. Eventually we will announce a release date as we get closer to it, but we don't want to announce it too early and be wrong. Okay, so I'd like this ramp to go deeper because we were getting stuck. So I'm just gonna go a little bit deeper, and hopefully that will resolve the issue of the player getting stuck in the beginning. So we've got to pop back into play mode and run up it again. Hey, Build It 3D. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's give this a whirl. Oh yeah, I wanted to adjust the invisible wall on the second line of raisable earth. Okay, great. So that's much smoother. No issues at all there. Let's get through here. This is the one right here. It's just kind of weird that we can walk all the way over here. Although, you know, I don't even know if it really matters. No, I think people will actually discover that one. Okay, let's just adjust that a little bit. All right, let's pop into the dark forest. And looking for that collision wall. This one right here. Okay. And I'm just going to skew it a little bit. You know, if we raise the earth for the one that comes before, we'll have a much better idea of where that needs to be. I think it's because this one doesn't raise up. That's kind of what's confusing things. It's actually weird that that one doesn't raise up. That one really should. I don't know why it doesn't. I'm gonna maybe just animate it to raise up. I think that's a mistake that it doesn't raise up, which would actually make this blocker a lot more reasonable where it used to be. Let me undo back to where it used to be. I'll go ahead and make it wide. And let's go ahead and animate this. So as we move the animation, you can see there's one more chunk that's actually underwater still that I really think should raise up. So I'm going to grab that chunk, if I can find it. Should be in this group right here. There it is. And we're going to wait till the other one raises up like right about here, and then I'm going to key it. I'm going to key its Y position. There we go. So I've left a keyframe, and now we're going to go all the way up. And I believe that they all want to be, they all raise up 2 meters, so I'm just going to add 2. That looks like too much somehow. I don't really understand why. So maybe we'll go a little bit less. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Okay, let's go ahead and check out that animation. There we go. Oh, whoa, that was, oh, I see. So it does this interesting bob thing, which actually looks kind of cool, but we can't have that. So let's find the last keyframe. Come on, where is it? Must be somewhere around here. Is it this one? It's 12B. There it is. Okay, so we want that keyframe right there. And I guess we just want to paste it. Right? Yeah, right here. Overwrite that key. There we go. Now it's going to stay put for us. Cool. Thanks for dropping by, H2O, and thanks for the kind words. See you later. Oh my gosh, Daniil, 45 hours. Well, thank you so much for playing, and thank you for the kind words, and I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Hey, Colby House, good to see you, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Colby House is one of the first streamers to play Eastshade. Thank you, Daniil. Okay, so there we go. All right, I'll give that a save, and hopefully that should sort all of our issues. We did have a bit of like floating collision, or the player could basically walk on air over here, but you can see why. There's kind of nothing there to support them. So maybe we want to take a look at that wall. So I'm going to raise this earth right here. Let's see what we're working with. Okay. So I think that this was the area that they could walk. So I'm going to take a look at the swamp walls. So I'm just going to kind of visually mark that area, remember it. And I'm going to look at the walls right here. So there's where the boundary is. I'll go ahead and turn on the mesh render so we can see what we're doing, and then we'll raise that earth. It's kind of weird because it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad from here. I don't know why. It felt so weird to be able to walk that far. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. I think it's better to have the collision to be too forgiving and kind of weird stuff can happen than too like too tight, and then people get stuck on stuff that they feel like they shouldn't be getting stuck on. All right. Thank you for the hype. Thanks for the hype, Colby. Hey, Lawless Play, welcome, welcome. Sounds like you might be on the wrong mic. Oh. That's terrible. Okay, let me play my own stream back. See if I can hear it. That's terrible. No. Yeah, you're right. I'm totally on the wrong mic. That's terrible. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, so for some reason, oh my God. I believe I've got 30 people watching here and I was on the wrong mic. Okay, let me believe. Wow. I've got 30. That's awful. Okay, that's how I'm supposed to sound. Sorry, everybody. I cannot. I was on my camera mic. Wow. Thank you very much, Lawless. Appreciate the pointing that out. Hopefully that sorted it. Oh boy, that's so bad. I cannot believe I did that. I thought it was weird when I opened the stream. I was like, why is that channel muted? Huh? Unmute. And then, of course, that was the camera mic input. And the actual mic wasn't giving any sound because the phantom power was off for some reason. So that is just really embarrassing. Really should have sound checked that. I guess that's what I get for not streaming for like 2 months or whatever. Wonder how many people came into the stream and were just like, nope, can't deal with that audio quality. Okay, I'm pretty sure that collision's good. I'm so happy that that part that is done because I've had that in my list forever and it was a nightmare to do because in order to author the collision, I had to bring all this geometry in back to Blender because all this stuff was set up in Unity. So I had to export all the geometry back to Blender, which was just really weird. It's not a direction that people normally go with it. Of course, it's usually the other way around. You're exporting from Blender into Unity. Danya, it's me. Thanks very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Hey, hey, Shine. Hello, welcome. Okay, cool. So now we're going to move on to the cloud. I'm going to give that a save. I'm going to just minimize. Actually, I can go ahead and exit out of Blender. Let's go to Perforce, refresh it, and just maybe let's delete this swamp FBX. We don't need that FBX anymore. We've got 2 FBX files, swamp, which we can just delete. We don't want to check those in. And we'll refresh that. And then I'll check this in. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Okay, sweet. And then we're going to move on to our cloud, which is this thing. Okay, I'm going to be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right. Got that welcome, Mint. Thanks for dropping by the stream. Yeah, that was very embarrassing. Such terrible audio. Okay, so we have a cloud interior. I'm going to go ahead and put us into the start settings. Pumpkin growing. Well, we'll start with that. Actually, you know, I'll put us in developer start settings, and then I'm going to place the player over by the secret door. I tell you, I often say this, but if you're making an RPG or any sort of open world game or any sort of game where there's a very, very, very complicated world state with like NPCs and quests and stuff, one really hard problem is just setting up your system well so that you can start the game in any state. It is really, really hard to work on the game when you are trying to test different parts of different quests and you can't easily jump back into that moment. Because you can't just play the whole quest every time. It takes too long. All right, so we're going to find that cloud interior. Let's type cloud. It's not pumpkin cloud. Beanstalk, maybe? Oh, there it is. Beanstalk interior. So I'm going to copy the name of that. I'm going to grab this entry. This is like a secret little developer door. And I'm going to paste the interior there so that we can walk into it. So once I jump into play mode, I should just be able to walk into that door, and then we'll see what we have so far. Make sure that's working. Pop into play mode here. All right, so here's our placeholder interior. Let's get started. All right, so I've cracked open that interior and it's got a plane on the ground. Let's take a look at the concept. So looking at the concept, the player will have a very small area to be able to walk in. It's just almost like a little strip, and we're gonna play with the perspective a little bit. Let's put a replacement plane here. I'm gonna get rid of the mesh render. Oh my god. Just let's make this a box collider. I'm gonna call this ground col. We just want a really small area that the player can walk in. And then basically walls anywhere else. So what is this? A random plane. Got a point light. I don't even know if we need a point light. We probably don't need a point light. The only thing is, it's going to be kind of hard to see because if we're just going to rely on ambient light. All right. Let's make this a directional light and then just point it some reasonable spot with no shadows. Okay, and we're just going to call this our sun. Sun. Okay. And then here's an exit, but I don't want it. Oh, here's the entry point. We need to put that entry point right on top of the ground. So I'm going to give that ground something to select. So we'll just put it right on top of the ground there. I'll put it actually as a child of the ground. And we'll make another box collider. We'll call it wall collider. Make sure we still have that entry referenced. Yeah, we do. Okay. Wall collider, and yeah, we'll just scale it. Scale it like this. Want it to be tall enough. Actually pretty hard to see what we're doing here. I might have to put like mesh renders on all these. It's kind of hard to see. Okay, we'll maybe add a mesh filter just so we can put like a box on it. Hey, is Matt? Cube. Can I get a cube? There we go. Okay, now at least we have a cube. And I'll just put some random material, whatever. White, can we just get like a white? Why is it so hard to find like a... I just want a shaded... How do we not have one? I want to see what I'm doing. Wow. I'm going to add a new material into models. Materials. Let's create a new material. Call it gray box. Leave it completely default. And then I'll add it there. There. Now we should be able to actually see what we're doing. I'd like that to be on here as well. And then we'll copy that mesh filter of a cube as new. There, now we can actually see what we're doing. Okay. We'll just put one on each side. Hopefully that's tall enough for the player not to be able to... Oops. Oh, there's a crazy skew on it. Let's go ahead and maybe create a new empty. And let's just call this like walkable area. And I just want to make sure there's no funky scale on it. And then I'm going to take everything out and put it inside of that. And then we'll take that ground collider and put it inside of that, just to, so we don't have funky scale on everything. We'll duplicate that and rotate it 90. Move it right to the edge there. And just scale it. Okay. Tiny walkable area, which we can easily scale up if we need to. Now this door, we want it to be a trigger. So I'm going to delete this exit group. And I'll just call it exit portal. I'm going to remove the mesh from it. Actually, how will we exit? Let's look at the concept. I hadn't considered that. I don't actually know how we're going to exit this thing. Because there's no obvious place to run that will make the player exit other than maybe down. I think that might be the only Yeah, maybe if the player just wants to run down. Yeah, I think that that's going to be our best bet. So I will make it a trigger area. Let's make this a trigger portal. I don't know why it has a game object finder on it. I don't think it needs one. But it didn't seem to have a unique name. Oh, I deleted the cube. Oh my God, okay. Let's add a box collider and make sure it's a trigger. I think it might need an interact on it. No, maybe it doesn't. Does it? Oh my God. Let me see if I have a prefab for this trigger portal. Yeah, we do. Let's go ahead and use the prefab. I'll bring in the prefab trigger portal. I just want to make sure they go to the same place. So check out the exit portal. Just make sure that it uses this interior location. Specific exterior location. And the from world is the beanstalk interior. What else? I want to copy all these settings. Actually, if I go ahead and copy this component and paste these component values, I don't want any sort of sounds, that's for sure. Okay, now let's get rid of that. And just put that right here so that the player can leave. And then in order to allow the player to leave, I think we're going to have to create some little space here. And I don't want the player to run too far. I'm going to create a little stopper. It's a very strange little setup. Okay, and now I can, well, I'll go ahead and leave that there just so we can see what we're working with. But I need to check that out and save it. And now let's get to the clouds. So I'm going to back up and we need to turn on this interior so that we can even visualize what we're working on. Got a lot of work to do here. Okay. So I activate it and that should help us visualize what we're working on. So we want that little part that the player can walk in. We want that to be roughly where we have it in the concept, which is sort of lower down. It looks like the scale is maybe, we want it to be a little tighter in as well. So I'm going to open up that beanstalk interior and we're going to take a look at that virtual camera. And I'm going to tighten up the field of view to 4.5 degrees or maybe even 4. Potentially even less. No, that's too tight. We'll leave it at 4. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Broken Age had that whole cloud area. Okay, and I'm going to raise the camera. Let's check out the concepts. Yeah, it's just a little below the center. The whole walkable area is also maybe too small, looks like. So I'm going to scale it all up. And then I can remove all the scale by moving everything out and then setting the scale back to 0. I don't like the parent group to have scale on it. And then I can put everything back in. And now nothing has that weird scale. The entry doesn't need to be scaled. We do need to be conscious of how this entry is orientated because it determines how the player is orientated when they come in. I think that this is a good maybe something like that.
And then let's take a look at that trigger portal. I want the player to clip it, so move it back a little. We'll see what that looks like. Okay, now let's get our clouds. It actually might be helpful if that gray box material was something other than gray for the moment. Make it kind of red. Like blue. No, red is good. Okay, and let's get our cloud. We have some cloud meshes that are animated, and I want to see if I can use them. Okay, unfortunately, they're just all separate. So we need to extract them because they're all well, not separate. They're just one giant mesh here for the library. So we need to copy them out of the library, and we might actually want to make a new Blender file for it. Yeah, I'm thinking that that might actually be the best play, because then we'll have more control if we do it in the model. So we need to open up Blender. First, we need to start by opening our library. Go to Models. Models, here we go. Okay, and blends, library interior. I'm gonna open that. We don't need to check it out. Oh, let's go ahead and refresh Perforce. And let's call this pumpkin, or we'll call this beanstalk cloud interior. Save. And we've got our library open. And I just want to grab the clouds. So here they all are. Are they all on this layer? They are. And they all have their own individual pivots here. So here they all are all just merged together. I think maybe we want that. Yeah, clouds for appending. Clearly we've already appended them at some point. I'm going to create a new... Yeah, let's make a new Blender file. And I'm going to append our clouds in. Models. For some reason, we're not getting them. Where are all of our files? Oh, we're in the wrong directory. This is the old directory. There we go. What's going on? Models. I don't understand what's going on. It says we're not filtering Blender files. What am I doing wrong? I'm confused. This is the path. I'm just going to paste that into Explorer. It's in this folder blend, so for whatever reason that blends folder is not showing up. Okay, that was really weird. For some reason it didn't show us the folder with the little squiggly on it. I don't know why. It's also super laggy, like I can't even click on anything. Library interior. And let's get our objects. And we need to look for clouds for appending. Okay, we have 2 clouds for appending. I'm just going to go with clouds for appending. There they are. And it looks like they need our cloud material on them. Let's go into textured mode. Oh no, we already have them. And let's check out the material. Okay, and we have 2 different versions of the clouds. We want probably to make new versions of these materials. I'm going to copy library clouds dark and library clouds. I'm going to pop back into Unity. Library clouds dark and library clouds. So duplicate both those. And we're going to call it beanstalk clouds. And beanstalk clouds dark. Cool. Save that interior. Back into Blender. Call it beanstalk clouds. And beanstalk clouds. Okay. Now we need a new dummy object. So create a cube dummy, and we'll call this beanstalk clouds underscore LD0. And maybe we can just parent this. Now, right off the bat, we need these clouds to be orientated correctly. I don't think we really have much use for these really long cloud arrangements. I'm going to select them. And just sort of move them off to the side. Maybe even separate them. Oops, we forgot one little fella. Move it off to the side. I'll separate it into a different object, and I'll actually unparent it so that it won't go into the render mesh that we're setting up here. I'm going to rotate this toward the camera. All these kind of clouds that are rotated, the library is at a really weird angle, so I just want everything to be rotated toward the camera. And then we're going to try to arrange these clouds to sort of match our concept, because it's going to take a really long time to try to build a new one. And I just think that if we can get away with just arranging these clouds, then we should do that. So we have all these sort of arrangements to start from. I just want them all to be facing the camera. Oops, gosh, I leave behind so much crap. How's that even possible? Okay, here's our starting point. You know, I'll just go ahead and export. Let's see what we have. Oops. Okay, we haven't even saved our blend file yet, so we need to do that first. Blends, I'll go ahead and call it beanstalk cloud interior. Oh, we have this one too. Like it didn't get rotated. Actually, that one is just kind of broken. I'm going to delete that. I don't think we need that one. Let's save that, and we also need to set a path for our exporter. I'm going to go ahead and set models, decheck relative path. It's so laggy and slow right now that, like, whenever I'm on the screen, I don't know why. Accept. Okay, and let's export and pop back into Unity. And now we should have our beanstalk clouds. Here's the model that just got exported. I'm going to remove this animation stuff, and then we'll go use the legacy recursive up search. And I'm going to stick that into our interior. There's our clouds. They're orientated wrong. I'll go ahead and orientate them correctly. Just grab this. And let's just grab them all. Just grab everything and rotate. Like -90 is what we want. Stick them all in here. Export. Glorious. Now they're all orientated toward the camera. And let's see if we can build this thing out. So I'm going to save. Okay, we've got our work cut out for us. So the first thing I want to block in. Well, let me fix this. Very tall now for some reason. First thing I want to block in is just that kind of big shape. So I think of this as sort of 2 layers. We've got the back layer, and then we have this sort of dark cloud area that we'll be walking on, and then we have the front layer. So I want to create this back layer here. And I think a great cloud to start from is just the biggest one we have, which is this. Maybe we want to move everything off to the side and just move in this really big cloud right here. And let's see how far that gets us as a starting point. So just moving it very close to the origin. Okay, pretty good. So clearly it needs to be moved. I want to say up, but let's just make sure we've got our clouds. Okay, so our clouds are really low. I actually want to put the clouds maybe just like on the origin, on 0, 0 for that walkable area. That's perfect. So we want that to be behind the player. Cool. So a little lower and a little more to the right at that concept. It's also a little bit taller in the concept, so a little lower and a little more to the right. I think we can pitch it back a little and then just make it taller. Maybe squish it in this way. Seems pretty good. Looking at the concepts. Yeah, we want to move the whole thing down and maybe make it the whole thing a little smaller. Move the whole thing down and make the whole thing a little smaller. And then check out our, that seems pretty good. And I'm not really concerned about getting the exact shape. Maybe we can try some of these little back fluffies. And try like this one right here. What material do these have? I don't know, but they should have clouds dark, I'm thinking. Looking at those little back fluffies. I'm gonna try to stack them up, or maybe right here. Make them a little bit taller. Them in here. And just make sure they have the dark cloud assigned to them. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That looks pretty good. Checking out the concept. So we just want them to be smaller. Stick them more in here. And it seems like maybe we could, oh man, I just went to grease pencil mode. Get out. Try rotating 90 degrees. And maybe making another one to the side here, just to sort of fill out that side shape. Colby says that they're queasy about reshaping, resizing sprites and assets. Oh yeah, I'm an absolute heathen. I will just crash anything. I think just to get the big read right, once you get the big read right, then you can start addressing If like you made something look a little junky, maybe you blew it up too big and maybe it's looking low textile density, then you can sort of figure out what to do. But I think getting the big read right is the if the big read looks good, then that I feel like that's the hard part. You can always sort of increase fidelity, but the big read is the art. Okay, I'm thinking another one of these little cloud stacks. I'm gonna grab, oops. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna rotate it upside down just so it doesn't look exactly like itself. Because it'll look like a copy if I don't. I'm gonna make it really skinny and really small and just try to push it right here. Okay. And then looking at the concept, yeah, that seems about right. Pretty good. There's another like white cloud over here in the bottom right. I think it's probably time to move our NPC. This is not the correct NPC. We're gonna have a different NPC, but we'll just move her up. I'll delete her shadow. Oh my God. Okay, let me unpack that. Unpack the prefab and delete the shadow. And let's see if we can start creating that front cloud area. And I think it's time to maybe turn off. Well, maybe not, because maybe we just want to make sure we get those clouds actually in front. So we need a bit of a cloud here on the right. Let's see if we can find something that's reasonable shape. So looking at the concept, it seems like this one right here might be perfect. So I'm going to grab that and just try to move it into position here to create that front part that will cover a little bit of that near layer. Okay. One issue I think we might have to make a third cloud value, because this cloud is indistinguishable from the cloud behind. And we might need something to be able to distinguish it. We might need a little something. I can also see like some of these that are just flipping through, kind of a problem, because I'm seeing it clip through in the animation. So I'm going to try to sneak these. They should be all the way through or all the way behind, but they can't be halfway through like this, because I'm seeing that weird clipping business going on. I think they should be in front. And then we might have to grab this vert right here and just pull it back. Or maybe pull back this entire side of the cloud to get it behind all that stuff. Let's see if that looks less junky. Interesting. I wish, come on. So only when I have it selected does it actually animate, which is very annoying because it's really hard to see how it's looking. Yeah, I think we're gonna need a medium cloud material. So I'm gonna duplicate this clouds dark, and we'll call it like clouds medium. And we're gonna look at the difference between, so clouds dark, we just wanna go a hair lighter, not all the way light. Oh man, they're so close. Okay, and then we'll copy the name of that clouds medium. And I just want the ones in the middle here. So let's go ahead and select. So all these have just the normal clouds on them. So I'm going to deselect all that stuff. Oof, hard. Unfortunately, the deselect is not as thorough as I'd like it to be. There we go. That should deselect everything. Okay, I just had to turn off that hide back facing. And I want to deselect that. And then I want to make sure that this has the cloud's medium. I'm going to create a new material and put that cloud's medium on. And that should make a value that is slightly darker. It literally did nothing. Weird. But as I change it, it's doing nothing. So I did something wrong here. Assign, assign, assign. Now I'm going to select. So it definitely has clouds medium assigned to that. And then let's try. It says it should be working. Maybe some monkey business going on with the, oh, there we go, there we go. Okay, cool. So now we can actually see the different layers of cloud. And it looks like the cloud medium is maybe too dark. So try to get it a little lighter. Crazy, I can barely even see the difference now. But I think it'll be too dark if I go darker. Well, that'll have to do. See, we've got all this junk going on. Like sometimes it looks good, but sometimes it looks a little junky. We'll have to see it in motion. That's the only way to check if this thing looks right, just to see it in motion. So let's grab this area here. I'm going to partition this out, and I'm going to set the origin to the selection, or to the geometry rather, and just move it forward. So. Okay. Something like that for that right side. It looks like maybe it could be built a little bit more built up. We've got some more junk going on here, I see. Like I can actually see it right here. Let's take a look at the UVs. I can see some weird pizza pie nonsense going on, so I'm just going to scale it all down. I might want a little bit more cloud. Like right here. Let's see how that looks. Put that in, raise it up. That's the wrong material. Scale it down. I'm going to partition it out so it's its own individual object, set the origin to the geometry, and just make sure that it has the beanstalk clouds material on it, the lightest one. There we go. Well, we'll see. I see that gross pizza slice situation going on right here, so fix that. We might even rotate it. That might look cool, like something like that. Oh yeah, that has a more dynamic shape to it that I like. Seems like I need to make it smaller and bring it in. I don't want it to get too big there on the right side. This whole shape is just really big. So I'm gonna shrink it and just kind of tuck it in here. Hey, Star Niece. Yeah, it is definitely a very novel art pipeline. Star Niece asks how you organize dialogue We use our own tool that we wrote. So we just have these conversation asset files, and then you can open them, and then we have this little node-based dialog tool that we can add new nodes. And then we can add branches for like player choices. It can go to different things. And then we have this little markup language that we can execute stuff from code to like change the game state. Like this one fires an event. And like this one, it's called third speaker. It can have someone who's not part of the conversation speaking. But yeah, we try to keep the dialogue data really simple. It's just like a bunch of nodes and their outputs. Every node has an ID, and every node has the text and a list of choices. And we call it metadata, which we use for that little markup language I was talking about to make calls to the code. Hey, Booby B, welcome. Okay, so there we go. I tightened up that right edge, and I think that looks a lot better. So we're coming along with the cloud. One thing is that the background is obviously this beautiful light blue sky. And I'm gonna have to create a new background. So let's create a new background, and let's call it Beanstalk Cloud BG. Sorry guys, I got some in my eye. All right, we have a sub. Let's see. Analyrith, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the resub. Really appreciate that. All right, I know it's been a while since I streamed here. Appreciate the resub. Thank you, thank you. No, well, I missed that. I haven't been on for a long time, so Happy New Year to you as well. Okay, so we're just gonna swap out this background with our Beanstalk cloud backgrounds. And just make it the sky color. Really, really bright. We've got this cloudy background in. I think the scrolling is kind of going in a weird direction. Actually, let's take a look at color we have. So it is kind of actually, it's not super bright. It's a little bit more muted. And let's look at what we have there. So yeah, I think that all that is going the wrong way. Also, should be a little bit more blue and a little bit darker. And we'll rotate it 90 degrees. Does that make it upside down? I can't really tell. It doesn't look very skyish. We might just go with a plain background, like solid color. Although one issue is that sometimes you can see the vignetting, which I don't really like. Maybe let's go with a noise, medium noise. Or a dither, maybe? This is a dither noise. Okay, but we need it to tile way harder than that. Doing really weird stuff. Really weird, like moiring. That looks okay. I don't know if we want a dither. We might just want a normal noise pattern. Let's try that. For some reason, the noise is not showing up. Okay, we just need to decrease the cutoff here. Maybe we don't want noise. I can't really decide. Okay, something like that. Let's see. Ours is still brighter somehow. Yeah, also Jacqueline's clouds have no blue in them at all. They're just completely white. Yeah, let's push the sky in a more blue direction. That works. Okay. So now we need to we really need to just see how it looks. Let's do that. So I'm going to remove all the mesh renders from this and then save it. Looking at the ground, looking at the concept, we have that dark area. Maybe we do want to take some of the saturation out of the clouds dark. I'll just reduce a little bit of the saturation of the blue. Yeah, I don't know. We need some kind of indication of where the player can walk. This, I don't like what's happening there. I think that's going to look really bad. Anyhow, let's take a look at it. Okay. I'm going to put us in the daytime. And let's walk in. So I think we can let the player walk a little bit further to the right and maybe have them walk a little bit less far to the left. This is so gross. That cannot happen. I'm going to need to put some kind of little cloud. I don't know what we're going to do about that. It works pretty good though, I think. Yeah, they're sort of evolving. Yeah, actually, I think that came out quite nice. Now the portal is not working. That's a bummer. I don't know what I have to do to make it work. Let's see. Here's our trigger portal. Do we have some kind of bool activation on it? Box collider is trigger. It's on the default layer. It says, oh, we need to check exterior portal. I don't know why that wasn't checked. Okay, and then it breaks the game when we leave, which I think it won't when we actually get there via the beanstalk. Okay, so just leaving play mode. That's working really well. We just have a few little issues to sort. like that. I think it would make sense for the player to be able to walk less to the left and more to the right. But I'm just going to keep those other ones, those other walls right there. So I'm just going to shift the whole thing to the right, and then we'll move this wall. Something like that. Now I hate what's going on with this, so I just want to find a way to make that look less ugly. I think what we might have to do is just delete that whole end. And then I'll add a cut. Ooh, preserve UVs, preserve UVs. Correct UVs there, okay. And then I will taper that down a little bit, but mostly we just want like something like this to cap it. So I'll just copy that and just rotate that and stick it right there to cover up that nastiness. Rotate. Let's see how that looks. I'm gonna give that a save. Great, that looks great. Easy. Okay, we need some kind of floor for the player to walk on. So I think what I'll do is I'll just grab, oh, this I can tell has that same pizza slice issue with the UVs. It's really subtle and hard to see, but I see it. Yeah, I think maybe I just want to grab something like this. And move it into position here. Partition it, make it its own object. Set the origin to the geometry. And just give us some kind of ground here to the player can walk on. And I might need to give it like a custom shader so we can have really precise control over the look of it, because we want it to be darker. I also don't really want it to have any fluff to it. I think maybe that was the wrong choice. Let's actually go with just a straight solid color here. Partition that into its own object, set the origin to the geometry. And I'm just going to flatten it out. And just put that down right here as a floor. Okay, how does that look? I think that will be better. I might want it to give a little bit more of a silhouette edge. So I might just twist the perspective here and have it way further out than the floor actually is. And I'm going to put on I'm going to give it the dark shader. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that'll work better. And let's move it back. Okay, and then we just need to build up that one on the left. So let's take a look at the reference. I'll shove this one back even more. And let's get like a tall one to go on the left side. Yeah, very tall one. We really don't have a tall one, so I'm gonna have to just turn one on its side. How about this one? Let's go with that one. I'm gonna move that one, that formation over. and partition that out to be its own object. Set the origin to the geometry. Ropit Pattinson, hello. Welcome, welcome. Let me rotate this. Actually, let's just see how that looks. Let's just drop it in. It's got the wrong material. Definitely. I want the whole thing to have the lightest material. I just hate, it looks really stretched. Especially that cloud, that middle cloud that makes up like most of its body. So we need it to really fall perfectly so someone can sit on it. And it's a bad cloud formation. It just doesn't look right. The reference. Yeah, she's got this really like pristine puffy cloud. Maybe we don't even need that middle cloud. I wonder, can we just get away with not having it and just make a formation purely out of these circles? Might be the play here. And then just lower it a little bit. How's that? Go Hero asks why it's not a quad. Show you in a second. So the reason it's not a quad is because the way that the animation actually works is I've got the texture here in the top right corner. You can see actually just a bunch of horizontally tiling clouds. And we need a ring of quads, as you like how you can see the UVs are laid out. And then the texture scrolls horizontally so that we get that animated edge of the clouds evolving. So that's why it's not a quad. But looking at the concept, yeah, it's such a perfect puffy cloud that Jacqueline has here. And we have just this kind of ugly square shape that I'm not loving. Let me just try to keep massaging this. That's better. I think if we make the bottom a little bit bigger, or maybe even turn this one on its side. Let's go into its local origin. Turn that one on its side. And then maybe kind of shrink this one. Move it down. There, that's a bit of a better shape. And definitely more sittable. It's still really hard to tell where the silhouette is. Like, we want that actually to pop out, I think. Man, it just doesn't look that good. Compared to the concept. I want it to be more of a peak. Okay, now I'm going to move that whole thing out. And I don't know, in order to get that silhouette, we need the whole sort of left side of the cloud to just sort of smash in. Which I don't know if we want to do that much surgery on it. We might experiment just moving the whole cloud over to the right. We're almost there. Okay. Rotate that out and just move that out. Okay, now there's somewhere to sit on. Let's move our NPC into position. Save it and take a look at it. Okay, well, it's something. We'll just have to see it in motion. And how is our, see how we are in comparison to the concept. So really just a little bit more support here. A couple white clouds to fill it out. It looks like we might need a cloud that sort of wraps a little bit more around the bottom. And try experimenting with that. I might just take this this entire cloud assembly, partition it, set the origin to the geometry, and just move it in. Oh man, I missed a bunch of clouds. Okay, partition those and merge those in. And then move that entire thing down to form that little bit of cloud at the bottom. I'm going to scale it down significantly. These are going to be the smallest clouds we have. How about that? How does that look? Yeah, I think that could look pretty cool. I'll move that up. It looks kind of weird. We might need one more little cloud predicament. Let me grab all these, partition these out. I'm sure I left some behind here. Yep. Come on, where is it? This one. I think we need a little bit more detail here. So I'm just going to grab this entire one and just stick it in. Maybe like right here. Well, yeah, I'll try to stick it in right here and see if that gives us a little bit more detail. Because it just looks kind of plain. Let's try to put this one in the middle. Let's put it on the medium cloud shader. How's that? Yeah, I think that'll give it a little bit more body. Okay, now the question is, do we want it behind the player? I think so. So I'm going to stick it as far back as I can possibly get it to go. And I can see it poking out a little bit there, so that's going to look weird. I just want to rotate it and sort of tuck it away. Yeah, I think that will look good. This looks a little strange. I might just copy this entire thing and cover the entire bottom with the same sort of predicament. How's that? I think that looks better. Hard to tell. That looks super weird. I don't know what's going on there. I guess it's just passing through the different. Because this texture scrolls, I think I need to put it like in the middle of that one. That's gonna, man. That's gonna create some really weird stuff. Okay, well, anyhow, let's get on with these little flourishings. Ah, it looks so weird and wrong. Maybe I should have left them pizza slices. Oh man. Is there nowhere that's safe? Because I can see those little inner circles are getting weird gradients. Like they get darker and lighter sometimes. Boy. Okay, well, anyhow, we need to make one light cloud little puff in the bottom right and one on the top left. We also need one more dark tall stacker. Let's get a tall stacker. Hey, Ryan JQ. I'm back. I think I am having a good year, yeah. Hope you are too. Okay, so making one little tall stack pokey cloud bit. That's the technical term for these. Go ahead and rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, how's that? That looks kind of strange. Maybe make it a little taller and stick it down. I think that looks a little bit less strange. And then we just need one more little cloud tuft. Come on. Maybe I can just grab like this. Copy those faces, partition it out, set origin to geometry, and then just stick this one out here. Something like that. Let's see if that looks any good. Oh, make sure it's on the lightest. Yeah, it is on the lightest. Ew, I don't like that. We need to get rid of that. Let's just get rid of that entirely. See how that looks. A little bit better. Still kind of weird. Almost like we need one cloud shader that is lighter than all of them. I'll make it. Beanstalk clouds. And then we'll go beanstalk clouds light. And in order to get it even brighter, first of all, let's make something actually use it because nobody uses it right now. Okay, now we should have one that is lighter than all the others. So it should be that one right there. Let's get that beanstalk light. In order to get it lighter, oh, we've got this random color intensity. Definitely none of these beanstalk materials should have that random color intensity. Let's turn that off. We might have to give the selection glow. I'm pumping up the selection glow and it's not getting any brighter. All right, I just set it to white in the material and it did get a tiny bit brighter. Weird that that selection glow does absolutely nothing. Okay, maybe these can be a little smaller and a little higher. All right, I think that works. And then back to the concept, and we just have two of them sort of floating around. So maybe we'll get one of them over here and I'll rotate 180. Oops. Oh, well, actually that's a weird shape. Let's leave that. Stick that in there. Something like that. How's that? I think that fills it out all right. And then maybe we'll take like one more. Like maybe we can grab a different. No, we'll just use the same one. So we'll take one more and just rotate it so it doesn't look like the others. And just try to put it at the bottom here. Make it seem a little bit more irregular. Maybe we want that, this one down here to seem like almost more detached. That's pretty good. Cool. Well, it looks like a cloud, I guess. I'll move the entire composition to the right. And maybe take that floor plane and just move it back a little bit more even. Oh shit, what did I do? Undo? Huh. What did I do? That's so weird. Export. Oh, maybe because I didn't save the prefab? I don't know. Seemed like our whole composition moved. Yeah. Huh. Let me move it to the right and then there we go. Okay. Now we'll save that. And now we just need the beanstalk. The actual beanstalk that goes behind all this stuff. Okay, but we want to see how it's looking animated, so let's take a peek. Okay. And we'll have to check it at night and at day. Well, she's running in front of the cloud, so that's not good. Oh, and I fell off. How did that happen? Like, where am I? Where am I running right now? Oh, you know, it might be because we forgot to check. Okay, that's where she's supposed to be. Right there. Cool. I think that looks pretty cool. Again, I think we maybe want a little bit less space to run to the left. And a little bit more space to run to the right, because it's kind of cool that she can run through these clouds. And then if the player tries to leave, then it should teleport. And that background looks a little dark. I'm going to make it a few values lighter. Okay, beanstalk interior. First of all, background a little bit lighter, just a few values lighter, tiny bit. And I don't know what this is, overlay intensity, 0, no overlay. And then we need that we need it to be affected by the ambient color, so I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's going to happen to this thing at night, but we'll have to check it out. Potentially this thing needs some kind of light cycle. So we're going to shine during the day, and then we have a night color, which will just be like a blue, dark blue maybe. Actually, maybe even off at night. I don't know. See, the night ambient color we'll just say is like a dark blue. And the ambient color in the day will just be that sort of daytime. Daytime lights. And I don't think we want any sort of fog in the scene. Maybe just a little bit of blue fog. Okay, and we save. And what else did I want to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to address this. So I want to let the player go more to the right. And I want the ground, we'll just have to make the ground a little bit bigger. I think that this is fine. It seems like, okay, yeah. I think they can go way too much forward. We might have to turn on the, can't see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. So this is really easy to see. So this whole entire area needs to come back a tiny bit, potentially move down. Think like that. And then these two walls can afford to be sucked in a little. This wall, I want to push it a little bit more over so players aren't able to walk that far over. And then that portal, where's that portal? Trigger portal needs to actually be a trigger portal. Save the prefab. And that should be good. Wait, what is this? Why are there two? I don't know what that is, but we don't need that because we already have that one. And then this, go. This one should definitely go all the way to the right here. And this one is just to stop the player from running off the edge once the trigger portal takes over and starts walking them downward. Okay, let's turn off all the mesh renders, save, let's see how it's going. Run in. Okay. So I think we're walking a little too high. It seemed like maybe we should let the player walk down a little bit. This is crazy. I think, I don't know. It's very confusing what's going on with the fizz. Maybe I should author my own fizz. Yeah, I'm gonna author my own in Blender. I'm gonna be right back, folks. All right, so I said I was going to author my own collision here. I'm going to duplicate this object and make it a little bit smaller so that we can actually select it. And we'll call this Beanstalk Clouds Fizz. And I'm going to move it to a different layer. We've already got the cursor right where we need it. I'm going to add a plane and give that plane a material called Fizz. And I'll just go ahead and make it blue. And then parent it to that Fizz object. Okay, and we'll say that the player can walk here. Walk this far in, this far over. And then we'll give that little area that they can walk out of. It's very simple. We'll grab all these edges, all the outer edges, and then just extrude them up just enough so that they can't go over the edge. I don't like to extrude them too high because I just sometimes it gets in the way of the interaction raycast. And then I'm going to give it a solidify modifier, just because sometimes having an open edge can do weird things. And I'll go ahead and save that and export. And then I'm going to bring that in. Cloud is, what is it called? Beanstalk Clouds Fizz. Clouds. Fizz, and I'm just going to make it not even import any materials. Remove that animation stuff. And let's stick the Beanstalk Clouds. Actually, we can just add a mesh collider component here. And I think for the sound, I'm going to do sand, or whatever we're using for sand. Yeah, that should be a softer sound. Hey, Mike Goo. Welcome, welcome. There we go. Okay, so it looks like that might be a little low. Let's compare it to have. I'm going to turn on all those mesh renders. Hey, it's actually pretty close. The whole thing just looks like maybe it's a little small. So make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and now I think we can just get rid of all these collision walls, because now we have an actual collider that we can use. And I'm going to go ahead and put that, delete the walkable area group and put that entry right on the bottom there. And let's save it. Oh yeah, and we need to make sure the trigger portal is aligning with all that. So let's click on the Beanstalk Clouds and the trigger portal. I should just go like right here maybe. Maybe we'll move it back a little and move back this wall. That. Export that. Yeah, Mike Goo asks why I'm using an old version of Blender. Just because I wrote my own custom exporter that works just the way I like it to. I wrote it many years ago, like I think 10 years ago now. Gosh, time flies. And I just don't want to have to rewrite it. So I haven't updated Blender. And the new versions of Blender really don't have anything that speaks to me. Literally nothing that I've seen has anything to do with what I do. There seem to be concentrating on like that real-time render, like Eevee. It's such a weird focus. I feel like I don't know who's using that. Hey, Chaotic Voices. Hello, hello. I know this might be quite early in development, but are you going to add voice acting to the game? Yes, we will have full voice acting, but we do it right at the very, very, very end. Because if you do it early, then you absolutely F yourself over if you ever have to change a single word in the script. So you absolutely have to wait till the last few months. Yeah, that's right, Mike Goo. I wrote the exporter for Eastshade, and I still use it. It looks like, yeah, I don't think the players will be able to get over that. Let's try it. Let's give it a whirl. See how it goes. Hey, rock on. You were in Eastshade Chaotic Voices? Oh, we've got a draw order issue. Just for a second, though. That's weird. Yeah, back 3/4 has her leg poking out. I better write that down. Actually, I should fix that right now. What's your name, Chaotic Voices? Okay, so it's leaving footsteps, which is not what we want. But other than that, that collision is working much, much better. And it sounds pretty good too. You guys probably can't really hear it, but I'm going to bevel that so the player has a little bit more space to walk around. That works absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, the footsteps are a problem. So we really can't use the sound. Oh, we can't use the sand. Maybe I'll just do none. Yeah, that works. Okay. Hey, rock on. Glad to hear it, Chaotic Voices. Andreas. Oh, the Bloomsack Farmer. Okay, awesome. Great. All right. Yeah, those were fantastic performances. Yeah, we're definitely are going to have like everyone that was in Eastshade is going to be on our short list for sure for recasting, because those are people that we've already, you know, stuff is good, delivered their lines on time, all that good stuff. So, oh yeah, the player could poke through this cloud a little, so I'm just gonna pull that in a touch. Voice acting is that part of development is just so much fun. So amazing. And it happens so fast. Everything else takes forever. Like, to make an environment takes like weeks, months, years sometimes. And then the voice acting, send the lines off. And as we start putting everything in, it makes such a huge impact, such a short period of time. So cool. it's kind of actually hard. It requires a lot of restraint to not put any voices in until the very end, because it's just pointless. You're just going to step on your own toes and have to redo stuff. But I would love to do a little voice pass, send out some lines, get some stuff voiced, just to see how the game feels, because the game has such a different feel once it's voiced. Okay, so we're gonna pop back in and check that collision one more time. I also keep forgetting to check the night day, so I'm gonna have to do that. Directing a game at the moment, shaping voices of the actors into what I want them to sound and to draw out their deepest feelings. Yeah, that's awesome. I've never done directing myself. We might have to do a little bit more on Glimmerwick. Oh, right, I forgot to change the I forgot to change that sound. Getting sloppy. Need to change that sound material. Okay, so I'm gonna change the material to none. I hope that gets rid of the footsteps. And I think I'll move back that trigger portal just a little bit more. Okay, I will not forget to check the night day. Walking seems great. And I can't go forward in all the spaces that make sense. Perfect. Perfect. I forgot to check the night day. I'm such an idiot. What is wrong with me? Okay, we have one singular purpose now. I'm gonna run the game and I'm gonna check the night day. Ah! God, it's so annoying. My brain from being a soup. Okay, here we go. So I'm moving earlier in the day and nothing is happening. So that's not really a good sign. And as I move toward nighttime, nothing happens, which is really weird. So I'm gonna go to the interior and just check out the sun. So I don't think I can get away with turning off the sun. The background needs some kind of material cycle. All right, let's see what we can do here. It's weird because the ambient color didn't even seem like it changed, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay, into the beanstalk interior, we've got a bunch of stuff to fix. So let's set this material color cycle. And the name of the property is just underscore color. I think that's right. Main color. I think it is called color though in the shader. Come on now. And then the color we're going to set is probably just super duper dark blue, like midnight dark blue color. So that takes care of the background. Now we just need to take care of the light. So I'm going to add a light cycle. And it's going to shine during the day. And it has a night color of very dark blue. And it says it's going to control the intensity. Let me see, look at the code and see under what conditions it actually uses that night color. So if the behavior is intensity, here, let's see. Shine during, okay, so there's a night color. The night color is only used if the behavior is not intensity. So let's change the behavior to color. And then when we say shine during the day, it's getting the indoor light value. Okay, but what is it doing with F? Okay, it's playing off the initial intensity. Oh, that's if it's in intensity mode. If it's not in intensity mode, it just lerps the day color and the night color. But what's the day color? The day color is cached at the beginning, and it's just the light color, which is in this case going to be white. So that should work. So I saved it, and I can't think of anything else that's going to be an issue. Yeah, it doesn't need to look great at night. It just needs to look like night. I'm not trying to get it to look epic or anything. It would be cool to have the stars in the background, but fine. Okay, so that looks a little bit more like night. Let me see what the sun is doing right now. It's just pure white still. It's not responding at all. I don't understand what's wrong with this component. But the background color is changing, so now I'm going more into the day, and the background color is changing. Oh my god. So it looks like I just need to change this to night mode, and then it works. I don't know why. It's really stupid. Let's see how that works. Okay. Now, these clouds are very bright still, and I think that maybe it's because are they somehow ignoring the ambient light? So like an ambient light factor or something? No, there's not. So I don't know why they're so bright still. Like they have emissive or something. Oh, they do have a little bit of selection glow, but not enough to do anything. Or wait, no, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Ambient factor is set to 0.5. All right, that's a little bit better. It still looks kind of weird though. Let's do ambient. There we go. So when I set it to 1, it really gets very intense. We want that light to be brighter at night. Yeah. Okay, let's keep that ambient factor at like 0.7. Maybe. Yeah, that should do it. 0.7. And then we want to go into the beanstalk. Beanstalk interior. And make sure that that sun is shine during night. And that seems to fix our issues there. I thought that this background is just a little bit dark. I'll brighten it. And I think we're golden there. Let's do one more test. Because lighting is always so fickle. Come on, go in. It looks so weird. Oh, you know what? I wanted that nighttime color to be brighter. Yeah, it looks a bit better during the day. Yeah, I don't know. We might want no blue in it at all. Let me try doing that. I'm just going to remove any blue. But that didn't work. Remove any blue from the clouds. Yeah, I guess that works a little bit, but I still want to have a little bit of blue in there. Just a tiny bit, at least more than we have. Oh, so subtle. Kind of hard to tell what's even going on. Okay, let's go to the dark ones. That's the one that we really need a little bit, just a little bit of blue in there. So subtle. I can't tell the difference between these different levels here, unfortunately. Okay, we need the medium one to be a little darker. Let's use the HSV and just make that value like, what, 98 or something? 95. Really a problem because I feel like these clouds should be brighter than they are. But they're already max brightness, so I don't really know what to do about that other than maybe just crank the sun value. The only thing I can think of. Because they're just not different. Clouds light is the lightest one. That needs to be full white. The next one is clouds medium. No. The next one is clouds. So that one should be just a touch of, I don't know, let's use HSV mode and let's call it like 95 on the value scale. 96. Barely even see a difference here. Then we go clouds medium, and that's going to be 90, 95. Seems good. I'll lower that saturation a little bit. And now we go clouds dark. Yeah, and that's even more saturated. Go like 88. Okay, there. I think that they're all in balance. And then if we want to, we can just bust that sun intensity higher. Like 1.5. Oh my God, it's doing nothing to the clouds. That's so crazy. Okay, so it must be the ambient factor. I bet if I mess with this ambient, yep, that's what it is, the ambient. So now they're super bright. Okay. Now everything is all thrown off by that. Well, at least it's a lot easier to tell the difference in the different cloud layers now. I like that. This person just needs a cloud shadow, and then I think they'll fit in. Maybe just a little tiny bit. It's crazy what a difference it makes when you're like one value away from max brightness. Crazy. Okay, now it's actually just getting dark. Here we go, ambient. So let's do like 595. Pretty bright. Okay, now I'm going to push it into nighttime. That looks, I think, about right for the night, with the exception of the sun not being bright enough. Okay. That in-between time looks weird, but what can you do? So first we need to set these ambients correct. Let's go to that beanstalk interior. And this needs to be just like way brighter. There we go. And now the background can be darker, slightly darker. And then the sun can be brighter. And the nighttime will be brighter as well. Gotta check it again. One of the slowest going parts, man, just pushing around these values. I find sRGB super annoying to work with. Yeah, HSV is definitely easier at times. Hello, by the way, Optimus Primitive. I often have the opposite problem with the blacks, having to use super tiny values like 0.0005. Yes, yes, absolutely. I faced the same thing. Yeah, it's crazy. And sometimes it feels like you don't have enough values down there. Like I'm tripping sometimes. Like, do I need like freaking HDR or something? Like sometimes, you know, out of 255, one is not like too bright or something. Or like, you know, you're like choosing between value 3 and 4 on a 255 scale, and it's like too big of a jump. You need like a 3.5. Okay, I'd say the daytime looks pretty solid. And let's check out the night. The evening looks weird. And the night just looks kind of weird too. Like our NPCs are just too dark. And our clouds are too bright. So in order to make the clouds darker, I need to take that nighttime ambient factor down a couple notches, and then that sun, I need to take that up. I don't know what happens to the intensity at night, but I know we can increase the brightness here. Okay, one more time, please be the last time. Please just look fine. All I ask, look fine. Okay, that in there. Ugh, well, I think that's what we're gonna get at nighttime. I don't know why, I just cannot fix these. I think it looks a little better than before. Crazy that those clouds are still so bright. Let me mess with that nighttime ambient. Not doing anything. It's doing nothing. Doing very close to nothing. Crazy. I think it might just be because the ambient factor is 0.7. So I need to like raise it up a little bit to get them. Yeah, there, that makes the clouds darker. Did that just screw up the daytime values? I don't know, but it looks a lot better at night, tell you that much. So going back into the daytime, the evening values look way less whack, which is great. I would say it did not screw it up in the day. It looks great in the day. And then I push through to the evening. The evening looks actually pretty good. And then there's that weird in-between time where the clouds are too dark and the sky's too bright, but that's fine. It's just a weird in-between time. So we're not going to worry about that. That looks workable, I guess. The last thing I want to do is just grab that beanstalk interior. And then just really make sure there's a lot of saturation in there and get it as dark as possible. Okay, cool. That's that. Phew. Well, that is the cloud interior. I think I'm going to call it a stream there. Very productive stream. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me. And hopefully I'll be back on the horse now and streaming more often. And hope to see some of y'all next time. All right, peace out.